Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your man E Glaze, and that's my guy right there, Bobby
What up,
Jackson,
family?
as they call him, nasty if you call it. Um, we are on show number 2 of Optimize the Game. Well, I am executive director or executive, whatever I want to call myself this week, of Optimize the Vision, and Bobby Jackson is the founder and leader of Name of the Game. And we're together, we come together to talk to you about community and growing and doing things that could be positive in the communities that we serve. Last week was the initial show, what we call it
The
our
pilot.
pilot
Yeah,
episode.
pilot. Yeah.
And we said, hey, we might as well try it one more time. So this is officially episode 2. But first, before we get into it, man, how you doing today, bro?
Oh, bro, it's been a packed week, man. Packed week, but I'm good. I'm good. Congratulations to MEAC champions. HBCU title holders now, South Carolina State.
South
Uh,
Carolina State.
yeah, that was fun. That was fun. No, I'm bad. I'm gonna say it. I have to say this just so it's on record. I feel really bad for Prairie View because they coach lost that game. But okay, keep going. All right, I'm done.
Yeah, 21 nothing. But hey, man, you know, football is 2 halves, not one. But
There
we'll
you go.
keep it going. So, man,
Keep it going.
so every week we want to tackle topics and things that cross our face that we feel affect our community. Bobby this week kind of affected it this week, where he talked about something that is near and dear in my heart, and it's about the anger in our boys. And I also want to grow it a little bit in his passage, and I'll let him describe what he wrote out this week, and also the anger inside of us, our inner boy, that we are
Yes.
failing to address, especially as Black men. So, Bobby, talk to him first. Tell them where you wrote this at and where they can find it, and then what you was
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah. This was. I have jumped off into the wonderful world of Substack. For those who don't know, Substack is it's another slash social media platform, but it's really dedicated to writers, man. And I'm a writer at heart. I love writing. Will forever love writing. It's how I express myself and get it out there in the universe. Um, but that's where you can find the the writing that I did on this what we call the Lost Boys. So at notgchess.substack.com, you'll see the spot right there. And just be able to peruse the writings that I do. Yeah, this one kind of caught me, man. There's been a lot going on. We're in the city of Atlanta.
Yeah,
And I must give some love to our mayor, Dre, Mayor Dickens,
Mayor
because he's been doing an
Dickens.
excellent job. Yeah, he's been doing an excellent job, man. Proclaiming the year of the youth, and violent crime is going down, and uh, crime itself is going down. The numbers substantiate that. But when I see the things that are happening, the rate of crime might be going down, but it feels like the energy of the crime is going way up. Like
Yeah,
we just the violence and ugh, the level of hatred that it feels like is coming through in some of these crimes is just incredible to me, and I'm having a hard time grasping it. So that's what led to the writing this week for the Lost Boys. And I guess if we had to kind of get um, a overview of the writing, the number one thing is just some events that happened last week, or the week of Thanksgiving, actually, that kind of led to this, where you have 15-year-olds that are just, putting guns to people's heads and, killing them in plain sight. And
yeah,
then you see this whole trickle down effect, and we keep talking about what's going on with our boys, what's going on with our boys. And you called me about it. We were talking about it because it doesn't stop there. We could stop with the boys, yeah, but the reading ends with, if you really want to help a little black boy, um, start with the boy in the mirror. And that's where we kind of get to where we are right now, talking about the anger and emotional disruption that's going on with us as black men. Um,
yeah.
we're suffering. We're suffering really bad out here.
Which leads me to the first question that I want to jump into today is, where does this anger come from? Where is it stemming from? Why is it so prevalent? And we know we're not fools. Society has been digging in us for years,
Yeah,
centuries,
yeah.
decades, whatever you want to call it.
Right, right.
So the anger is, I always go back to what Tupac said. One of my favorite phrases, he was on MTV. He said, we're going to knock for a little bit. Hey, Lord, can I get in? Can I get some food? Blah, blah, blah. Eventually, it's going to end up kicking the door, bringing the full full. I want all of it. And it's
Right.
anger of it's a need. It's what we see, what we feel. That's why I try so hard and what we try so hard to give them something else to feel and see. I think sometimes we get into such a everything has to be this way. That's why you see some of our most prominent people. They always celebrate the release of a prisoner, but not the graduation of a graduate. That's a big thing. So, Bobby, my question to you: when you see the anger, you've been in there, you've been in Black Men Labs, you've seen things like this. Where does a lot of the anger stem from for our young boys?
I'm going to break every rule of every English professor I've ever had and every talk show we've ever done. And I'm going to answer the question with a question.
Okay.
Um, Glaze, why are you so angry?
Oh, oh, that was a question. Oh, I thought you.
Oh, yeah, not rhetorical.
Yeah, it is the lack of, and the
Mm,
growing up and where I seen and growing up, and we'll get into personal little boys and our own stories and things of that nature. But it's always felt like there's been um, disappointment, there's
mm,
been failures, there's been lack of recognition for the right things. There is, if we build, they destroy type of thing. And those are the things that really make me angry. I know what we
yeah,
can do. You see it every day. I know what our young men can do. I've always had a
yeah,
problem when the first thing somebody say about black kids, they see them as thugs, gangsters, and all that. I don't see that. I can see now. I unfortunately always look at young men. I look at the size of their shoulders. I'm like, yo, that's a linebacker. That's a problem. I get that. I see football play all the time. First thing that goes in my mind. But overall, we fail them before we even allow them to grow.
mm,
If I keep telling somebody you're nothing but this, and then I put the box to only give them this, we really don't give them a chance to be anything else.
right.
You know, not to toot my own horn, but that's what optimized vision is.
Hmm.
Get them out of their box, get them off the ground, create the fire that can see that. So what gets me angry is the lack of. I have a thing that I work on that's been my hardest thing, being my own limiting factor. If I can stop everybody around me from doing anything, how do I stop me from being my own limiting factor? I want to give kids a chance to be their own limited factor, if that makes sense. I want them
Yeah,
to have the opportunity to grow and to build. But I feel like, honestly, there are so many things they have to deal with on a day to day basis where it's even when the kids are doing well, even when they're fantastic athletes. Now you're hearing stories of, are they doing this for them? Or are they doing it for their parents? Are they trying to make
right.
their parents rich? Or are they trying to, you know what I'm saying? And it just
Yeah,
disturbed me. So for lack of a better term, by what makes me angry is we have not put 100% in making everything available for them to be great. And that bothers me. So when I hear the anger from my young boys, I see it. And I get mad of
yeah,
seeing things that I kind of like. I'd be like, oh, that's fantastic. Like, I like crazy music, but we grew up on some music.
yeah. We did.
But I
Yeah, we
didn't,
did.
it was music to me. It wasn't the lifestyle I sought. But
Right.
unfortunately, now I'm gonna sound like what they call it when you're contradicting yourself. I love Tubi. I don't know. I just became a Tubi guy. I did because it's entertaining to me.
It is.
But but Bobby, 3 out of 4 of them are drug dealers, pimps, strippers. There's nothing positive about nothing else. You might get the occasional, oh, that was pretty good. Oh, I ain't, what did that? But for 95% of, we have basically told our kids in Tubi creation, this is the best we can do.
Yep.
And that
Yep.
angers me because I know we can do better. Why we can't write a story about two people? Every now and then I see the group owning businesses. I'm like, hey, Oh, they got drama. It was a great movie. What we can't do that because we got to have the ones that get the most traction, drug dealers, killing each other, and stuff like that. So
So,
that's what
so
makes me
I'm
angry.
watching. I'm looking at a Substack. I'm locked into Substack now, y'all. It's crazy. But it was one written by Talib Kweli,
Yeah,
who, of course, name of the game, our chess program is coined after. And he made a quote in there that said, or it was talking about his son, a 5-year old, saying he wants to be a police officer when he grows up. And Talib was just beside himself.
right.
Um, but he talked about white neighborhoods don't have it better because they have more policing. They have it better because they have more resources.
Mm,
So when we talk about the tubies of the world and the music industry and why we keep getting the same regurgitated BS that comes through these TV screens and these speakers is because that's what's being rewarded.
yep.
That I gotta make the drug dealer, pimp, prostitute, stripper movie if I want to get paid.
Yep.
Um, Now, why that is, we can go down 100 different roads, but we grew up in an era of Boomerang and Love Jones and Brown Sugar and Love and Basketball, and we've seen that the black rom com or the black romantic movie can work, has worked, does work. The Brothers, The Wood, like the coming of age stories, The Best Man. Like we've got a series of movies that have proven themselves to be financially beneficial, yet they aren't being made anymore. So you have to begin to question what is this thing that we're under that continues to anger us, because that's what angers me, is seeing, like you said, the potential that we have and the things that we can do, and yet we have to succumb to the lowest denominator just to put food on our plate. I got a problem with
You
it.
know, it is crazy you say that. We grew up in the '70s. What was the big movies back then? The Mac, Superfly, and stuff like
Pimp,
that. And then we kind of we
basically.
yeah, but we got out of it, like you said, the
Yeah,
wood. That '90s was beautiful. The '90s to me were
beautiful.
beautiful. But we had more. We talk about. We have our kids even saying, "Man, y'all had a lot of Fridays and stuff that were just." It might have had gangster tones, but it was not gangsterish. And it seems
Right.
like, which goes back to why we're so angry. Eventually, we get to a point where the system, as they say, or what we're surrounded by, does finds out our happy spot. And it seems like I've never thought about it this way till you just said that. We'll get to a point of utopia, and then
Hmm.
somehow we'll find our way back to where we are now,
Yeah.
to where we are seeing the majority of our shows. I mean, we grew up in Martin and Living Single, and we don't have none of those shows now. We. I mean,
It's
they are
Real
fun, but
Housewives of this and Real
yeah,
Housewives of that, and
you have to, and we've um. Wow, you just kind of threw me. So let me, while I'm thinking like that, Bobby, what makes you angry? Keep going on your angry thing, because you kind of threw me off with that one for a little bit.
oh, well, we got a nickname for me, Habib. Oh, hating everybody, because I'm
Hey,
in
man,
black.
Bobby.
Hating everybody in black, because I can be angry about. I think it was James Baldwin that coined the phrase "to be black in America is to basically, to paraphrase, to be constantly in a state of anger." It's difficult for me not to be. So when I see things like the things that we're talking about now, and I'm watching the violent outbursts of these little boys and these little girls, and I keep going, what's the source of this? When I look in the mirror, what is it that makes me angry? And the little boy inside Bobby, it's lack of control, it's lack of power, it's lack of the ability to make decisions about my own life, because it feels like, and this is Bobby talking from about 18 up to about 45. It feels like my life is constantly on the end of somebody else's puppet string. Um, or let me marionette string, because puppets, they put their hand up your butt.
Yeah,
But that's a whole okay.
it's a whole different
So
thing.
So I don't know. But being in that situation and just knowing every decision I got to make, I get up in the morning, I got to be at work at such and such time because boss expect me to be there. I got to do this at such time. I can only take a break when it's lunchtime. I got to go clock out here. I got to clock in there. I got to, make sure this mortgage is paid here. So I got to make sure I got to pick up a second gig in order. And it's just this constant stream of I have no control over my own life. So I'm frustrated. I'm ticked. And the moment I get a second, a symbiote of control or what I deem as control, I run it all the way out to the hilt. So now if I can control my wife, I'm screaming at her, hey, shut up, watch your mouth, go give me the. If I'm controlling my kids, I'm screaming at them, sit your little, because that's the only semblance of power that I feel like I have in this country. And that's where the frustration I think never really heals. From the little boy to the little man, I can use that phrase. We just constantly in this state of what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Nothing, nothing, nothing. And that's the reverberating answer that keeps coming back. So that's part of the source of what ticks me off. But I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
It's hard. I think that's what we all, I mean, we look back at a lot of things that surrounds us as young men, and to seeing the young men around, it's about the want of control, the want of power.
Yeah.
We don't have that, or we don't see that. We don't see it a lot. We just to see it in the framework of whatever thing we do. Even when you see your fathers fight to have those two things, you know what I'm
You
saying?
want to open
Control.
that box? You really want to open that box? Go
To
ahead,
see them
Dad.
fight, you see the fight that they have to have this and can't
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
It's a it just keeps going, and even to the point now when you become a man, and if you never heal that, and I go into this, the unhealed boy inside of each one of the men that you see,
Uh-huh.
it affects decisions, it affects what you do, it affects how you do things. And even when you say like that whole control thing, you're like, man, I got this, I can do this. You kind of, I ain't gonna say abuse is the right word, but it feels like that's what happens.
I
You
like
don't
that word. Yeah.
you don't use it to what it could do. You kind of just, I'm. It's like I love this. One of my favorite scenes in American Dad is they were. You ever see that show? If y'all was ever seen it, it's about. It's a
Funny show.
cartoon
Funny
by
show.
Seth MacFarlane, and it was about these kids. The son and his boys all of a sudden got power to do announcements in the morning. And everyone who got to do announcements went from today we're having lunch to it just becoming this most powerful thing in their life. They were, you can't go to lunch and I am the powerful. And it was just because they had control. It's one of the best scenes in Family Guy. I mean, not Family Guy, but American Dad. And it's just like we all get to that point when they give us just a little control and
Yep.
how we handle it and being able to solve and resolve things. So yeah, I totally agree with you, man. That's those two things, power and control, are two things that you always see, and we go back to what we talking about. When we was in control of our narrative that we did with movies and music and businesses, it was different. So
Yes.
once we get that, sometimes we abuse it ourselves to the point
Absolutely.
where maybe we want to do a little bit more. Maybe we can do this. Maybe I want to be the richest man in the business. Maybe I can get all the money. And which
Mhm.
goes back to we have just now just thinking about this show, we got so many topics we can do about control and power. But for now, we're just gonna deal with this, man. So give me your thoughts on that, Bobby.
Well, they nailed it, dude. And here's the thing about that I've learned again, going from about 18 to 45. Um,
I'll give you
I'm,
a specific time frame.
because that is probably what is the Great Gatsby. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. That describes my 18 to 45. I had a really good time in life, family and kids and businesses and that. But the internal struggle, the emotional upheavals that I had, the mental struggles, it was just hard, like just hard for me. And because we are raised in this environment, and again, this is back to the writing we were talking about with our Lost Boys, that children are going to emulate what they see.
Yeah.
And if I grew up watching a father who was not very adept at regulating his emotions. He wasn't very adept at how to express himself. Then that's what I grow up seeing. Then that's what I'm gonna do. Daddy
Right.
didn't cry, so why am I crying? Daddy didn't
Yeah.
go talk to a therapist, so
He ain't
who
get
am
no
I gonna
help.
talk to?
He
They
ain't get
get
no
no
help.
help. He did it all on his own. That's what you're supposed to do. You just suck it up and go do it, and
Yeah.
you're crushing yourself.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Daddy had the bottles, the cigarettes, and the other things that was therapists that we didn't know were therapists.
Daddy had a therapist.
Daddy had therapists.
He had a
But
therapist.
we just thought it was cool, but it was therapy. It was the therapy that we didn't
Yeah.
talk about, man. So, Bobby, how
And
do
so
we get to a point? So,
uh-huh.
how do we get to a point where we help our boys and ourselves to help move us as a community forward?
I think what you said is to put the latter first. We are very in tune on what do we do about our boys? How can we help our boys? Well, let's get the first question. How do we help ourselves? That's ace number one, because there are a lot of, and I'll use the term, there are a lot of sick men out here right now. A lot of us. Watch the pronouns. A lot of us that we are hurting, we are struggling, we are drowning, and because all we've ever learned is two emotions, anger and anger, like that's all we do. And so not being able to process that through, you can't take somebody somewhere you haven't been. So we keep trying to lead our boys to the promised land, and we stuck on the other side of the Red Sea. Like,
Yeah,
dude, what are we gonna do? So
yeah,
getting ourselves healthy is priority number one before we can even look to get our boys here and try our boys this and make. And I'm not saying we throw them away in the process. Well, I can't help you because I got to get myself together. But we better start prioritizing our mental and emotional health, or we gonna be like I said in the writing, we're gonna be having this conversation about our great grandsons. It's gonna be the same going over and over again because we never got straight.
yeah. One of the biggest things that we all have to deal with. How can I lead when I haven't been led myself or unable to lead sometimes? I think we, and me and you see this a lot in this field that we're in, that we see a lot of people wanting to do good. And I will
Yeah.
tell everybody, I want you to help do good. But the question is, and I ask everybody, what are you doing this for? And if
Right.
you're doing it for some self gratification, okay, that's good. But it's gonna be it's gonna be so ungratifying. Sometimes you're gonna be like, I can't do this no more. That's why a lot of them fail. That's why you'll
Yep.
say they with the phrase nonprofits on the last 2 years. It's not because of funding. It's because the people who everybody think funding is money. Funding could be time, effort. That's all different types of funding. And everybody
Yeah.
isn't ready to do that. So that's why you'll see a guy who starts off like a whippersnapper and, hey, I can't wait to do this and help out the world. I got this great program, and it's a great program on paper. We can
Yeah.
all draw, say this every time as a coach. Every play I draw is 100% effective until I actually put it on the field.
Execution. Execution.
I can draw the perfect defense to ever offense ever out there until they say hut. And my kids don't seem to be in the right spot. It's
That's
about
it.
execution and it's about what you
Yep.
do. But as we grow as men, and hopefully our generation will be the growing part, because people don't realize, and I'm never an excuser for racism, but I'm never a blind eye to it as well. We're still
Right.
just less than 100 years from the Civil Rights Act. We haven't even hit 100 years on that yet. So we're
Right.
still less than 100 years from trying to build per
Right.
se who we are in our communities and teaching things and stuff like that. So me and our generation is probably the first educated generation, I would say.
To an extent, yeah, yeah.
And the reason
That
I'm just
became one of the priorities. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, because I gotta tell everybody, my grandparents quit school in the 6th grade to pick cotton.
Right. Right.
My parents graduated high school and I graduated. So it was like, I'm not saying everybody. There are people that have been graduating colleges because for years,
Right.
going to school for years. But I'm saying from a percentage wise of our community, it was rare to see that
Yeah.
to the point.
Yeah.
But like right now, you see kids. I do think we don't talk about and give the roses to the ones. I see a lot more graduations. I see a lot of people in their elder age graduating. I see a lot of people fighting for education, and sometimes it's just not about education. It's for just the feeling of accomplishment because a lot of people
Yeah.
don't ever we've never felt that before. I see more schools like TSK Academy. I can't say the whole name, but you're seeing that growing. You see, and those are things that we are seeing, but unfortunately, through our major social media and um, TV resources and things of that nature, we're not seeing it, and we're
And that
exposed
and
to think that's what we see.
that's by design. That's by design.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I do my best now to just throw a proverbial middle finger up at these majors that they're going to do what they're designed to do.
Yeah,
It's platforms like this. It's us being in our closed rooms and our closed networks, having these conversations with one another that says, "Hey, you see what that little sister did over there? Let's go ahead and make sure she can X, Y, Z. Or you see what that young brother did over there? Let's big up him. Even if the world don't see it, let them catch up. They always playing catch up anyway. But it's
absolutely,
incumbent upon us, those of us who see the good news happening, who see the great things happening, to continue to reward these children. It's funny. I'll give you an example from our own TSK.
yeah.
So at our school, we do a thing called Golden Nuggets, and it's
Hmm.
just a series of questions that I compiled that I just think high schoolers should know. Whether it's things about geography, whether it's state capitals, it might be Black history, it might be literature, and so when we first started doing it, well, we have the kids and they do. I forgot Cahoots. I think this online gaming system we
Yeah,
use,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know Coots.
and so they all hop in online and they'll, compete to see who wins these prizes. Well, the first time we did it, only like 3 students participated. Now we told them we're not
Hmm.
forcing your hand. You don't have to do this, but they
Right.
just didn't understand the like. Wow, I don't care if I got studying to do or I want to go play basketball or whatever it may be. I don't want to. I said, okay, but you got to sit here. You got to sit here while these other 3 compete. You don't have to compete, but you stay in the
Right.
room. Um, so, our first little winner, God bless little Sarai. She's a whippersnapper. She studies. She loves it. The next time we did it, about 6 students participated because now they saw the little gift card she got and the adulation that she received from it. The third round, we had probably over half of our student population that was now participating in this because they were like, man, I know some of these answers. Or I can do this. And
Right.
because we
Right. Right.
began to reward and show, hey, and it's not just a monetary reward, it's the acknowledgement from the parents, it's the acknowledgement from the staff and administration that says, hey, we put your name on a wall, this kind of wall of fame that we do. Sarai is our reigning champion. She holding the belt right now. So people are now like gunning for her, because we've created this academic competitive atmosphere that taps into the natural thing. Kids want to be great. They want to be great. And so if we begin to nurture that, whether the world sees it, this may never be picked up by anybody else. But in their own collective, in their own world, they see it happening real time and go, oh, I can do more than just throw a ball or run up and down the field. Not to knock the athletics, we love it. But there are other things that these kids are doing and participating in. And once they see the benefit of it,
Absolutely.
it's no stopping them. It's no
Yeah.
stopping them.
That's one of the things that I feel like a lot of people miss. It's not only just doing it, but recognizing they're doing it. And I think, and honestly, Bobby, I will say this: as long as I got an opportunity for media, you'll see the recognition of people, no matter what you
Yeah.
see. Because I've had people say, "Man, you've had with the Clear Vision show I'm doing now." Shout out,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing a plug. So what? I've had 3 doctors
Your
on
show.
there. It 3 doctors, 3 female doctors from 3 different levels. Men
Mm-hmm.
who own companies. Why not show faces that you've never seen before? Not the same
Right.
people that everybody run to, because people don't realize in my lifetime, you know, or 50 something years, 52 years, whatever, subtract the one. I've ran into so many different people of color, mainly black people, who do things that you didn't even know could be done. My
Clueless.
cardiologist is a young black man who graduated from the Morehouse School of Medicine out here in Woodstock, not downtown. He out here in Woodstock.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that we need to be appreciating. So, in order for us to heal our community, sometimes you have to be the medicine for it. You have to
Yes.
find ways to infuse a different energy, a different feel into it. I know for me, some of the things that have helped me, it's funny that our growth, we've seen growing things like rice. We've seen the growth of
Yeah.
rice throughout time.
Yes.
Um, Black mayors. We become friends with mayors in our time. And I don't know Andre personally, but one of his highest people is one of our boys, Greg Clay. We've been able to
All
see
right.
stuff like that. I went into one of his uh, address to Atlanta, where they do the address Atlanta, his speak of the Atlanta address, whatever he did one
Oh
time.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Half of his people I knew. What up, dog? Because of what we did back in the day.
Right.
So
Right.
I'll say this, and I'm not I want to. That's what the portraits of the show is. We might not answer all the questions now, but we're gonna continue to pull back this onion and not be afraid to it. You'll see a bunch of
Yeah.
clips throughout the week of stuff that we talk about, and we'll keep pushing it because the one thing I see, because I feel like this could have been two different subjects. I'm learning, guys, about how to do this show. I kind of should have went maybe the healing of thyself and healing of thy others in two different shows, and we may do that later on. Um, But personally, if I look at the community itself and the young boys, again, when I coach Bobby, I'd seem to attract myself to the young men, and that's why years later they're still, "Hey, coach, what's up, Mr. Glaze?" Because I would
Right.
see a young guy who was in the 8th grade had to make a decision between helping his to make money for his family or just playing a game on Saturday, which he really
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do, but because money was needed for the household, so that builds anger because he wasn't able to
Yeah.
fulfill a childhood need that he wanted, which was just to play football, something he enjoyed. And those are
Yeah.
some of the things that build that anger, dog. And trying to address them and allow the community to grow because we can't be in everybody's household.
Nope.
But if they can see or feel something different, then we should try our best to give it to them as best we can without getting in arguments with parents. No comment. That's happened a few times, but
Well, I think the one thing, whether it's the little boys in our community or the little boys within self, that is more dangerous than anger is resentment.
oh,
Um, I think with the anger, we can, work our way through that if we have people we can talk to
yeah,
and be able to guide us. But that resentment thing, it's a poison, and
yeah,
it'll eat you. It'll eat you because you don't really talk about it. If I can see if you're angry, your
yeah,
face might get tight, or you might say a few choice words, but resentment is quiet.
yeah,
It goes into the shadows, and you look up 20 years later, and you don't know why this dude ain't talking to you no more.
right.
Um, so that resentment is a scary thing, which is why, again, and I think personally, I like the way you pick today's topic because there's such a dichotomy that goes on with us. That because it has to happen simultaneously. We can't afford to lose a generation because we're just going to solely concentrate on us. And at the same time, we can't afford to forget about ourselves or we're going to end up losing two generations. So
Absolutely.
that being able to have this conversation and find places and ways that we can point people to say, hey, try this, go here. You may not get the answer today. I keep talking to you about 18 to 45. I'm 54 in a month, so I'm still working through this thing. You
Exactly.
know,
Exactly.
I do have to give as we're talking about solutions, there's just certain things and people that I deal with that are already have been tackling these things. You mentioned earlier when we came on, working with Black Man Lab, that has been functioning for years
Yeah.
in the Atlanta community. Shout out to Attorney Davis and my boy Marty and Fred Parham, who's the new director over there, and all the good work that they're doing with young men and older men in the community. Part two, our man Gary Davis, who
Yep.
is over at Next Level Boys Academy.
Phenomenal
Um,
job over there.
Phenomenal job he's been doing over there. And literally, you talk about a level of consistency. So we
Hmm.
were over there. Some of the boys couldn't believe, like, wait, you've known him how long? I was like, this man has been doing this almost 30 years.
I've
Almost
been
30
doing.
years with little fanfare. But
Yep.
that's how you get the work done. And lastly, especially for men who are looking for a place to start the healing journey, my man Jermail Shelton at Udugu, um, that is one of the most powerful sessions I've ever been in and been a part of. Um, just black men being open and talking and expressing their hurt and their pain and their resentment for certain things in life. So there are places out here to go, and there are people out here. If you can't get into a therapy session, if you can't find a doctor because they are backed up like crazy, I feel for these therapists. But there are places to go that we can start the healing journey until we can get to the place where that healing journey becomes full. So don't
Right.
just sit out here and think it's, oh, we can't do nothing or it's hopeless. No, it's never hopeless. You just got to get off your butt and really put some effort in. Execute, Coach Glaze said.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's one of the biggest things is finding that those circles and finding those opportunities. There are a lot more groups out there than what you see. There's a lot of groups that do pay attention to the things, but there are people out there working.
Yeah,
People say, "Oh, trust me." I wake up, I see a lot of people, I see a lot of posts. Unfortunately, the posts sometimes get overwritten by the other posts, but that's okay. People have what they have. They have their vices. They have what they do. But at the end of the day, man, I think the only way we can get through this is things like this. We keep grinding, we keep pushing, we keep putting stuff out there. We still have over 100 HBCUs still doing
yep,
things. It's the most positive thing out there. I tell everybody I never missed anything by not be going to a PWI. My school
right.
had 2,000 people in it. And that's probably what's the most important thing for a guy coming from Lincoln County. Now the city had 4 million, but the school only had 2,000,
Right.
and that was one of the most important things for me because it allowed me to grow and to meet people with the same ideals and strengths and wants, and to graduate and be something else. I will always say, is education everything? Not really. It's
No.
it's not. But I cannot put a price on what I learned from that school, meeting people. I know people all the way around the country from this. I know
Yeah.
people in Africa. My first person I met from Africa was at Morris Brown College. Not there a bunch of times. He literally came from Africa to Brown to study. It's still one of my best friends today. He in Australia today. So I'm like, what's up, dog? Hey, what's going on? But there are avenues. Are we going to beat the machine? You don't beat the machine trying to be the machine. You create your own
Right.
machine.
That's
And
it.
that's some of the things. And, I've never understood it. The older I got, I understand building your own table. Like I want to sit at the table. Yeah. Maybe that table got potato salad with raisins in it. I want the potato. I want my own potato salad. Even though I'm not a big potato salad guy, but you know what I'm saying. You get the reference.
The
Um,
references in.
so, how do you quelch the anger in young boys? I'll let Bobby finish, and I'll wrap it up with my thing is you continue to have to work on the box that they're surrounding themselves in.
Yeah.
You have to make the box a little opener. I always say with optimized vision, I didn't create it. Lewis created the whole hot air balloon, but I've certainly accepted it. You got a balloon when you're on the ground, a hot air balloon, your vision is limited. But if you put that fire to it, your vision, the balloon goes up and your vision rises. I think for people to get the anger out of people, we have to be the fire to allow them to rise. And that's what
Yeah.
I say to anybody out there who want to do this, who want to say they want to help. Be that fire that allow the kids' visions to rise, and you will see less anger. Because right now, everything that surrounds them is not good. It's not the
No.
greatest, and they feel the pain of not only the weight of their community, but the weight of that people outside of the community. So if I don't give you nothing to do but fight your way out, what you gonna do? You're gonna fight.
Fight.
You gotta give them
That's
options.
that's what my daddy did. That's what my granddaddy did.
Exactly. Exactly. And trust me, I can tell you right now, that's why you see so many granddads and dads cling on to that kid. They might get out that neighborhood because
Yep.
they don't want to be there. They don't want to
Right.
fight. They want to
Right.
be somewhere else. They want to be eating lobster and shrimp somewhere else. They don't want to be eating
Lobster and scrolls.
big feet. It's all right, but they want to eat somewhere else. So I say that, but yeah, man, I'll let you finish it up. About what you got, man.
Well, I cannot remember the name of the professor, but he was a professor at Clark Atlanta, and he gave this phrasing about black boys, and he said, to paraphrase again, you have to love these boys so much that it hurts them to disappoint you.
Mm,
When you pour that level of love on these children, um, and they see the disappointment in your eyes when they don't rise, they change. But it starts with a level of love, and I'm not talking about just, oh, maybe it's gonna be. There's levels of love. Mama gonna give a certain type of love. Coach gonna give a certain type of love. Pastor gonna give a certain type of love. Like it's your uncle gonna give a certain type of love. But when it's a genuine heart for these children that says, "Hey, I'm here. I'm gonna hold you to a standard." But I'm going to make sure that I give you everything that you can possibly need to move forward. And I'm going to be proud of you, win, lose, or draw. That level of love, it makes children want to be better people. Because the last thing, and you can attest to this, the last thing one of your linebackers wanted to do was mess up an assignment. The last thing. They didn't want to come back and look at Coach Glaze and I be like, I missed that gap or I missed that coverage. Nah, when they came back after making that play, because they went over it in practice and they did exactly what Coach Blaine said to do, the look of pride on their faces, it's oh man, it's a level of love that unfortunately they don't see all the time.
yeah,
So that's where I start, man. Like just love on these children, even in their worst space, even in their worst conditions, because they're still children
they
and they're
still
still
children.
learning and they're still
Yeah,
growing. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I would lead with, man. Lead with love, and let's go from there.
absolutely. It's funny you say that. Real quick story. One of the kids I coached in eighth grade, Brian Randolph, he went to the league before he tore his knee up, but he told the story. Like I said, what do you remember from me? He said, I remember when we would make a good play, you would always be like, yeah. And he said that was just the excitement. I was like, my being happy for you making a place like, yeah, because that mattered to us. And so everything you just said, it matters. Make
Yeah,
them love them so much that disappointing you is a problem for them. And I promise you.
that's it.
And that's our show for this week. We're in with that, man. Make sure you can find you where, Bobby?
Man, you can find me on NOTG chats on all major platforms: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Substack. Hi, I'm loving
Substack.
it.
Put your Substack out there. Put your Substack out there. Eglaze OTV, IG, TikTok, what's the other one? X, and Optimize Division, OTV Media, where you'll see this show. Clips throughout the week. We'll post, promote, do all that thing. But for you, love yourself, love your community, and have love for everybody. We'll see y'all again next week. Optimize the game, baby. Peace.
See ya.